The courtroom felt unusually cold that morning. Not the kind of chill that comes from air conditioning, this was the chill of tension. You could feel it from the gallery, from the camera crew, even from the bailiff who had seen everything yet somehow sensed that today's case would be different. When the door opened and Judge Judy entered, everyone straightened like clockwork. Her black robe flowed as she walked to the bench, confident, controlled, unreadable. "Be seated," she said, setting down the folder in front of her. "Next case." The bailiff called out, "Carter versus Brooks." On the left stood Denise Carter, a woman in her mid-40s with platinum blonde hair, pearl earrings, and a designer purse that looked more expensive than her case was worth. She stood rigid, jaw tight, lips pressed in a line that screamed control freak. Across the aisle was Elena Brooks, a woman in her early 30s, plain but composed, the type who had learned the hard way that silence could be stronger than words. Judy flipped through the pages. "Ms. Carter, you're suing the defendant for $1,200 in damages and lost wages related to a vehicle collision, correct?" Karen, though she'd insisted everyone call her Denise, nodded sharply. "That's right, Your Honor. She hit my car and refused to take responsibility. I had to miss work, get my car repaired, and suffer emotional distress." Judy tilted her head. "Emotional distress." Karen placed her manicured hand dramatically over her chest. "It's been awful. I've had nightmares about the crash. I can barely drive anymore." A faint smile flickered across Judy's lips. "You're suing for $1,200, not trauma counseling. Let's stick to what you can prove." The audience chuckled quietly. Karen's eyes narrowed. "I'm sorry, but I pay taxes that." Judy looked up sharply. "Careful." Karen hesitated. "What?" "Finish that sentence carefully," Judy said, voice low but razor-edged. Karen crossed her arms, glaring. "I was just saying I pay your salary." And that was it. The words hung in the air, poisonous and heavy. The audience went silent, even the bailiff shifted uncomfortably. Judy's eyes locked onto Karen's like a hawk spotting prey. "You pay my salary," she repeated slowly, her tone calm, too calm. "You think because you pay taxes you get to come into my courtroom and dictate how it's run." Karen blinked, realizing too late what she'd done. "No, I didn't mean." "Stop talking," Judy's tone could have frozen fire. Karen fell silent. "Good," Judy said, "because you're about one sentence away from finding out how fast that tax dollar of yours doesn't stretch." The room stayed quiet for several seconds. Judy turned the page. "Let's get back to the case before you dig a deeper hole." Elena shifted nervously. Her fingers trembled as she handed over a folder. "Ms. Brooks," Judy said, "your side of the story." Elena's voice was soft. "Your Honor, she hit me. I stopped to let a pedestrian cross. Ms. Carter backed out of a no-parking zone without looking." Karen's head snapped up. "That's a lie." Judy raised a finger. "No interruptions." Karen's mouth shut again, lips pressed so tight they turned white. Judy gestured to the bailiff. "Let's see the photos." He handed over printed pictures. Judy studied them carefully, one brow lifting higher with each image. "Ms. Carter," she said finally, "is that your car in the picture?" Karen nodded stiffly. "Yes." "And it's parked where exactly?" "In front of the store." Judy leaned closer. "In the crosswalk." Karen blinked. "It was only for a minute." "Illegal for 1 minute is still illegal," Judy said. "The sign says no parking at any time. You understand what any time means." Karen's voice rose, defensive. "It's not like I hurt anyone." Judy sighed. "You caused a collision because you thought rules didn't apply to you. That's not confidence, Ms. Carter, that's entitlement." The gallery murmured. Karen's cheeks turned pink. "Do you have any proof she hit you?" Judy asked. Karen flipped open her folder and pulled out a crumpled printout. "This is from my insurance claim. They said the damage matched her car." Judy glanced at the page. "The same claim that's already been paid out by your insurance." Karen froze. Yes, but..." "So why are you suing for the same damages?" Karen's throat bobbed. "Because it wasn't enough." "Not enough or not deserved?" Judy asked. Karen glared at Elena. "She should have paid for what she did." Elena whispered. "You reversed into me." Karen snapped. "Liar." The courtroom buzzed with tension again. Judy tapped her pen twice. You know what I love about liars, Ms. Carter, they never stop talking long enough to realize they're confessing. Karen stared at her, eyes cold and wet. Judy continued, let's move on, Ms. Brooks, any evidence? Yes, Your Honor, I have dashcam footage. The courtroom went still. Karen's head jerked toward her, panic flashing across her face. Dashcam, Judy asked. Alina nodded, handing over a USB. The bailiff connected it, the footage played on the screen. Karen's silver SUV filled the frame. It was parked crookedly half over the crosswalk. Then, without checking, it rolled backward hard. The crunch of impact echoed in the courtroom like thunder. Then on the recording, Karen's voice shrieked. You shouldn't have been there, my husband's a lawyer, I'll ruin you. Gasps filled the courtroom. Judy's expression didn't change. That your voice, Ms. Carter? Karen swallowed, it could have been edited. Of course, Judy said dryly, because everyone edits themselves losing. Laughter rippled across the gallery. Karen's face went crimson, this isn't fair. Judy said, you're right, it's not fair that she has to sit here while you lie under oath. Karen's voice cracked, I'm not lying. You just did, Judy said, and you did it on camera. Karen's eyes darted to the corners of the room as if looking for an exit. You don't understand, I've been through so much. I understand perfectly, Judy said. You thought you could twist the story, make yourself the victim and walk away with cash. But you didn't count on evidence. That's the thing about truth, Ms. Carter, it doesn't need to shout. Karen trembled, you're being unfair. I'm being merciful, Judy replied. If this were a criminal court, you'd be facing perjury. The audience murmured again, the hum of karmic tension thick in the air. Karen's eyes burned, but she stayed quiet for now. As Judy reviewed the footage again, something flickered in her expression. Is there a witness? Alina nodded, yes, Your Honor, the officer who responded that day. Call her in. The bailiff opened the door. Officer Hall stepped inside, a tall, composed woman in a crisp navy uniform. Judy nodded to her. Officer, you witnessed the incident. I did, Your Honor, Ms. Carter was verbally aggressive and refused to exchange information. Ms. Brooks was calm, cooperative, and visibly shaken. Karen scoffed, she's lying too. Judy snapped, enough, you're not going to talk your way out of facts. The officer added, we cited Ms. Carter for illegal parking and reckless backing. Judy turned to Karen, and you neglected to mention that citation earlier, didn't you? Karen's voice dropped to a whisper, I didn't think it mattered. It always matters when it's the truth, Judy said softly. You've built this entire case on lies and now they're crumbling. To be continued. As Judy prepared her verdict, something strange began to unfold, something not even she could explain. Karen's smug expression melted into confusion. The lights flickered once, the microphone popped with static. For a second everyone froze. Then Judy looked up, her voice dropped lower than ever before. Ms. Carter, she said, sometimes karma doesn't wait for the gavel. Karen's throat tightened, what do you mean? Judy stared straight through her, you'll find out soon enough. And with that she adjourned the court. Karen left trembling, not from anger this time, but from something colder. Something that followed her even after the cameras turned off. The sound of the gavel still echoed in Karen's ears long after the cameras stopped rolling. She left the studio courtroom with shaking hands and a mind spinning faster than she could control. She'd lost. Not just the case, but her image, her carefully crafted version of herself as the wronged woman had shattered in front of millions. Outside, the sun was blinding. The world kept moving as if nothing had happened, but to Karen, everything felt warped, every sound sharper, every voice whispering just out of reach. She didn't go home that day. She drove aimlessly, replaying Judy's words again and again. Sometimes karma doesn't wait for the gavel. The phrase echoed in her mind like a curse. Later that night, Karen sat alone in her apartment, scrolling through her phone. Everywhere she looked, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, the clip was already trending. Television, entitled Woman Tells Judge Judy I Pay Your Salary, gets instantly destroyed. Television, Judge Judy's savage comeback has internet cheering. The comment sections burned with humiliation. Classic Karen meltdown. Imagine thinking you pay Judge Judy's salary, loudly crying face. She just paid for her own karma. Karen slammed her phone down so hard it cracked. "This isn't over," she whispered to herself, "it's just beginning." The next morning her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello, Miss Carter," a calm female voice said. "This is Officer Hall. We need to inform you that Ms. Brooks has filed a harassment report. Have you contacted her since the hearing?" Karen froze. "No, I haven't even seen her." The officer's voice was patient but firm. "We have reason to believe your social media posts qualify as continued harassment. Please be advised." Karen hung up. Her pulse pounded. "She's setting me up," she screamed into the empty room. The mirror across from her caught her reflection, her own eyes wide, wild, and frightened. For a moment, she didn't recognize herself. Days turned into weeks. Her job at the salon started to fall apart. Clients canceled, her coworkers whispered. Someone had found the viral clip and shared it in the local community group. "Beware this woman," she lied in court and humiliated herself on national TV. Everywhere she went, she felt eyes on her. Every smile looked mocking, every whisper sounded like her name. But the worst part wasn't what people said, it was what started happening when no one was around. At night she'd hear faint knocking, 3 taps, always from somewhere near the door. Then silence. She'd look through the peephole, no one. Her phone would buzz at 3:00 a.m., no caller ID. When she answered, there was only breathing. One night as she scrolled through her old Facebook posts, a notification appeared. "Elena Brooks commented on your photo." Her stomach dropped. That couldn't be right. Elena had blocked her weeks ago. She opened it. The comment said, "You said you pay for everything, let's see if you can pay for this." Karen's hand went cold. She refreshed the page, the comment was gone. She checked Elena's profile, deactivated. Her heart raced, someone's messing with me. But deep down she remembered Judge Judy's eyes, calm, certain, knowing. Karma doesn't wait for the gavel. A week later, Karen received a letter in the mail from the county court. She tore it open. Notice of wage garnishment, case 1473B, judgment for the defendant, $1,700 due plus court costs. Her throat tightened. "No, I don't owe that much." But the paperwork was official, stamped, signed by Judge Judith Shainlin herself. For the first time in her life, Denise Carter cried not from anger but from something darker, shame. She had lied so many times she couldn't remember what the truth even looked like. And now truth had come to collect. Meanwhile, Elena Brooks tried to move on with her life. But even she couldn't shake the feeling that something strange lingered after that trial. Her dashcam, the same one that had captured the accident, stopped working the day after court. Every time she tried to play it, the screen froze on one frame. Karen's face mid-yell, her mouth open in fury, eyes filled with something almost unhuman. Elena deleted the file. Some things she decided didn't need to be replayed. 3 months later, a new case appeared on Judge Judy's docket. Carter versus McConnell, the bailiff read. Judy looked up from the file, her eyebrows arching slightly. "Carter, as in the same Carter." "Same one," the bailiff said quietly. "She's suing her employer this time." Judy's lips curved into the faintest of smirks. "Let's see what lesson she's here to ignore today." When Karen walked in, the courtroom gasped. She looked different. Paler, thinner. Her once perfect hair was tied in a messy bun, and the fire in her eyes had dulled into something haunted. "Miss Carter," Judy said, "you again." Karen's voice cracked. "Your Honor, I just want what's fair." Judy's gaze softened barely. "You said that last time." Karen shook her head. "This time it's real, I swear." "Then I hope for your sake," Judy said, "you finally understand what that word means." As the hearing began, Karen stumbled through her statements. She spoke slower, quieter, as if something heavy weighed on her. But every time she tried to twist a detail or bend a fact, something strange happened. The courtroom lights flickered, faintly but noticeably. It happened once, twice. By the third time, even Judy noticed. "Electrical issues again?" she asked the bailiff. He shrugged. "Not that I know of." Karen's voice quivered. "It's her, she's not done with me." "Who?" Judy asked. "Elena." Karen whispered. "She's haunting me." The courtroom froze. Judy stared at her, expression unreadable. Ms. Brooks is very much alive and she hasn't contacted you. What you're experiencing is guilt. Corinne's hands shook. You don't understand, I hear her every night, she says. Stop, Judy said gently but firmly. You don't need to convince me, you need to forgive yourself. Tears streamed down Corinne's cheeks. For the first time in her life, she didn't argue. She just stood there, small, broken, human. The courtroom was silent. Even Judy's tone softened just a shade. Ms. Carter, she said, you can't shout your way out of truth, you can only learn to live with it, that's the real judgment. Corinne nodded weakly. I think I finally understand. Judy gave a single nod. Good, then maybe karma can stop following you around. That night when Corinne returned home, she found an envelope taped to her door. No address, no stamp, just her name in neat handwriting. She opened it slowly. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No words. Just a photo, the courtroom still from her first case where Judy had said, "Watch me." On the back, someone had written one line in faint pencil. The truth always collects. Corinne dropped the paper and ran inside, locking the door. But as she stood there in the dark, the silence pressed around her like a living thing. She whispered, I pay your salary, but the words felt hollow now. She laughed once, a bitter, broken sound, and finally she said something she'd never said before. I was wrong. Outside, thunder rumbled. A sudden gust of wind blew the curtains inward. The envelope fluttered off the counter and landed face down on the floor. The camera of truth had captured her lie. Now karma had captured her soul. Weeks later, Judge Judy was asked about the case during an interview. The host smiled. That viral one, the woman who said she pays your salary, did she ever apologize? Judy leaned back in her chair, a faint smile tugging at her lips. People like that don't apologize to me, they apologize to themselves eventually. The host laughed, so you do believe in karma? Judy's eyes glinted. I don't believe in karma, I see it. Epilogue. Months passed, the clip faded from trending lists. The internet found new villains to hate, new heroes to cheer. But somewhere in a quiet apartment, an old television played the rerun of that same episode, over and over, every night. The volume low, the room dark. And every time Judge Judy said, watch me, the lights flickered once. No one ever figured out why.